How's it going, everybody? And welcome to the Liberty Bowl. It is, of course, live stream Friday. As we do every Friday here, we come together, talk about the news, politics, things that's going on in the fall of Western civilization. Of course, joining me as always is my co-host Liberty Swine. How you doing this week, man?
Damn fine, man. Survived a good vacation in the C-19 once again, dude. But your boy's fucking alive and back at it, son. How about you?
Yeah, doing all right, man. Doing all right. Fucking, coming down from a couple of heat strokes throughout this week. We're back in the 110s again out here in Arizona, just as we creep into October. But anyway, other than that, doing all right, man.
Yeah,
Um,
good to hear.
yeah, so of course, this week we do have we're going to be touching up on election 2024, as it says in the title. We're going to be talking about the Trump assassination attempts, multiple, right? Multiple attempts. So we're going to be talking about that and possible conspiracies from foreign nations in order to take out Donald Trump. We're going to be talking about a whole bunch of other stuff. The possible implications of what it could mean if Trump wins, what it could mean if Kamala Harris ends up winning, uh, and all the in between stuff. Right? We're going to be pretty much like I say, it's that season. So we're going to be talking about election stuff. As we also did see today, Donald Trump met with Vladimir Zelensky at Trump Tower to, of course, talk about the possibility of Donald Trump coming in. And, of course, Donald Trump does have ties with Vladimir Putin as well as with Vladimir Zelensky. So you talked about, what his plan might look. Well, presumptively, I'm not too sure exactly what they talked about because the only video I saw was them walking out of a room. I don't know about you, but yeah. So anyway, what you want to talk?
It's all derivatives of Voldemort, man.
Right, right. Yep. Yeah, if you can see the look on his face too. I mean, fucking the just like the gravy train is fucking stopped here, man. Yeah, that's all it was.
Stark difference between when he was running around Pennsylvania on our dime with fucking the camel and whatnot, and then you see him with Trump, and yeah, just absolutely deflated. He's being led around by a fucking leash, as Salty would have put it, right? Fucking
Yeah.
Trump dog walks Zelensky. Good shit.
Right. Yeah, dude. It's like every time I think of Ukraine now, the only thing that I think of is that weird ass fucking, you know, she thing in a fucking uniform talking about like, oh, you think that we could not reach Americans? Like, hey, go
Mm.
fuck yourself. I'm pretty sure you probably do, but either way, go fuck yourself, further. But yeah, that's the only thing that I think about every time I think of Ukraine. But of course, I mean, Donald Trump, he did mention at least in the article that I read about it that you know Zelensky was pretty much his saving grace in the impeachment hoax back in the day, where basically they called up Zelensky. They asked him, like, oh, did Donald Trump do this? He said, nope. Yeah, pretty much, said, none of this stuff's true. I guess I'm kind of paraphrasing, but yeah, essentially saying that Vladimir Zelensky, he didn't say saved him, but he said, what was it? Didn't try anything cute. Right.
Yeah, supposedly in this meeting, he thanked him,
Yeah.
for ending the whole fucking shenanigans, man.
Yep.
The perfect phone call.
Absolutely perfect. The greatest phone call that anybody has ever made. Yeah.
But see,
Yeah.
the whole thing about the guy coming, which supposedly Congress is fucking investigating, as if anything's going to come of that, right? Like all the other investigations, is that the dude was flown here by our military, of course, on our dime, to come to Pennsylvania and fucking campaign basically for fucking camel toes, and went on to deride Americans. Vance is too extreme. I mean, this is the guy that's banned political parties, yada yada. And it started off like, we're going to give this guy $330 million. And then he speaks for camel toes. And then it's, oh, no, we're going to give him 2 billion. And then the next day it's, oh, well, we actually came up with 8 billion. You know what I mean? So the dude's pockets are fucking being greased well to come over here and run his fucking mouth. But with the the shit with Trump, it seems like maybe he could have been an all right dude to begin with. I mean, he originally wanted peace, right, with Putin.
Mhm.
Supposedly, fucking Biden leaned on everyone else to lean on him to prevent that. And of course, you had the Britons over there that quashed it immediately.
Right.
We got
Yep.
to have wars. We've always been at war with Eurasia.
Right, we've always been at war with everybody, man. Who gives a fuck? You need money. we're warmongers. That's like within our title. That's what we do.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, of course. I don't know what do you think? Obviously, as the and I don't have the article link, but either way, Trump is he does have connections as well with Vladimir Putin. So I mean, it would make sense that the best possible person in the world to negotiate peace between these two countries would be one Donald J. Trump. So I mean, what do you think the possible negotiate? I mean, the possible results could be through a Donald Trump peace. I mean, because of course Vladimir Putin doesn't have any reason to. I mean, other than the promise of hellfire and fury and whatnot, but other than that, he doesn't have really any reason to concede any land, anything like that. I mean, they conquered it fair and square. That's the spoils of war, it seems, and I'm pretty sure Donald Trump is a man that understands that sort of stuff. And of course, with the look on Vladimir Zelensky's face, I believe that he understands that both of these men are men that understand that fact as well. So of course he by default has to as well. I don't know, what do you think would be Donald Trump's peace plan?
Obviously ceding territory, which Camel Toes immediately had to come out and talk shit.
Mm-hmm.
That surrenders is. I mean, you almost have no choice. The only reason that these people even have this extended period is because of outside influences, mainly us, right? Um, and he's not winning, regardless how they say. Russia lost 10,000 troops in a week. Okay, I mean, there's a million dead total, and I'd have to say the majority of that's Ukrainians. So I mean, they really have no choice to either to cede land and or just basically stop. I mean, they're going to run out of people at some point.
Yeah,
And even even mercenaries, they've been shipping them in. Obviously, with the Ralph situation, is proof positive. But even that's only going to go so far. You're only going to find so many people that's willing to come across the planet and die for a country that they have nothing to do with. You know,
right. And that's been proven corrupt, multiple times. Even at this very moment, seeing as they have halted elections, and either way, it doesn't matter because all the political opponents have been arrested anyway, because they're pro Russia, of course. But yeah, I
not
mean,
to mention
obviously,
the
go ahead.
article that came out where Zelensky said himself 70% of the money that's coming in doesn't make it to the battlefield.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, in terms of just, sheer basic numbers, I mean, Kamala, I think, is probably the only person that could explain it the best. And that's that Russia is a big country and it's seated next to Ukraine, which is a smaller country. And so this bigger country is attacking the smaller country. And obviously, in terms of numbers, that's gonna end in an obvious fashion. Yeah.
yeah. Not to mention when the leader of the larger country is telling you, fucking dude, you guys keep pressing your luck and you're going to give me no choice but to use real fucking weaponry on this battlefield, which they've refrained from to this point.
Oh yeah.
You keep hearing these leftists like Ukraine's Slavic Ukrainians, there's winnings. I mean, no, they're not, man. Putin hasn't even actually begun to fight. You
Yeah.
know,
I think the Putin interview that I covered 2 weeks ago. I mean, covered says it best when they were talking about sending long range ballistic missiles, to Ukraine. So obviously, as Putin put it, up until this point, essentially they've been kind of, I guess, entertaining, the fact that all this weaponry and stuff is coming from the United States of America, because up until this point, it has basically been the triggers have been pulled by Ukrainians. It doesn't matter where the bullets come from, where the guns come from. It's Ukrainians that have, at least in essence, not counting the outliers and whatnot. But in terms of long range ballistic missiles, Ukraine has no satellites in the sky, which is the only way that you can control those missiles. I mean, so in which case they don't have any people trained to even control those satellites, even if they did have satellites. The only people that are capable of coming and effectively using these long range ballistic missiles in Ukraine are not Ukrainians. I mean, there's not going to be Ukrainians at the controls of these long range ballistic missiles. It's going to be NATO members, and that is obviously in act of war. by NATO. And
Yeah,
yeah,
it's just further provocation, and that regardless, how people, you're sympathizers for Russia's. No, I'm trying to point out reality when
yeah,
that's all it's been is provocations for fucking year after year after year. I mean, starting long before this, the Minsk Accords and so on.
yeah. I'm a sympathizer for like just not mass amounts of death. Like that's
Yeah,
what I'm a sympathizer for. Like
yeah,
fuck it.
yeah. 40,000 dead in the Middle Eastern, the current Middle Eastern conflict, and it's a genocide. There's been over 1 million dead in this conflict, and it's like, well, we got to keep sending money and weapons, man. It's got to keep going. No, we can't talk about peace. You're fucking MAGA's extremesies, you know.
Right. Yeah, yeah. It's all it is just further escalation. And I don't know, I had this theory, the other day of how much of the establishment's actual mind and thought process, their collective fucking hive mind, is being wasted on their political lawfare campaigns against Donald Trump, with that should be focused on the larger picture at hand, which basically the fact that the fate of the world rests in our hands and we're just ignoring it.
Yeah, I mean, and even on a smaller scale, man. I mean, these people forget that they represent districts, they represent constituents. They don't represent the country. They don't represent the federal government. They represent fucking districts and states that have people that put them in fucking office to do something for them. You know what I mean? And they just keep pressing forward with them. He's got to stop the Trumpses. Like that's not why you're there, man.
Right. All right. Now, hopefully, some of the people start to have the epiphanies that fucking supposedly old Zuckerberg has had, where basically he's like, wait a minute, this isn't popular. Censorship and stuff like that isn't popular. Like, I have decided I'm a libertarian now.
Right.
Yeah.
And hires a fucking rhino think tank to try to
Right.
redo his image, dude. Hilarious.
That's right.
You're
Yeah.
going the wrong way already, buddy.
Yep. Yep. But yeah, just but what I mean is basically in terms of at least licking your finger and sticking it in the wind to
Right.
try at least get a sense of what your constituents want you to do. Like maybe just think like maybe I should do like what's popular with the people that vote for me.
The people
Hmm.
that pay me.
Right. But yeah, that'll be the day. But hopefully, we keep on pushing rhino hunting, and election season's coming up as we talk about. So
Yeah, very few statesmen left in our government, man, and they're aging. They're not going to be
yeah,
around forever.
yep, yep. So I mean, train the next generation, and pay attention. Tell them to pay attention. If we make it that long, But yeah. So election 2024, man. It's just do a quick wrap up on all that. So we'll talk about debates, we'll talk about possible upcoming debates, we'll talk about the possible red mirage that the political establishment is already trying to prime people for. Of course, as we know, that red mirage is basically, oh, we found these several cases of mail-in ballots while everybody was
Mhm.
sleeping. Like, nothing
Right.
weird here. You guys thought you were winning, but it turns out, these ballots just showed up at 3 o'clock in the morning because, that's when mail carriers deliver shit. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll talk about, where Trump is in the polls. Of course, an article came out today basically saying that Kamala is down 6 points in, of course, the swing state of Arizona. Um,
Mhm.
And we'll also, after we wrap up that stuff, we'll get into the implications of what a Kamala victory or what a Trump victory would look like. But first, let's talk about debates real quick, man. What's your opinion on the previous debate? Because I know we didn't get yours on that one because you're on vacation at the time.
Obviously, fucking a 3-on-1 bias shit. Camel Toes can't get through a pre-recorded, edited fucking sit down, but yet she was able to, repeat perpetually fucking debunk talking points and bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obvious setup. They kept what did they fact check Trump like 7 times and fucking, on air? but never a single time with Camel when again she just kept repeating shit that even leftist sites like Snopes have debunked, and CNN came out after that debate to corroborate the fact that it was bullshit.
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, if I was Trump, it's hard to say whether you would do another one. I surely wouldn't take up the CNN bullshit because that's just going to be a replay. And Camel's already said, like, I won't do a Fox one, of course, because she's not going to go anywhere where she might get asked a real question. But it's hard to say whether I would do it or not, because it's going to be a fucking honeypot setup, regardless of where he goes, unless it's like Newsmax or something, man.
Right.
Which is not going to happen.
Yep. We gotta just out of the country, just third party fucking news outlet to do the debate. Like something like Sky News Australia, something like that.
Right.
They're third party. They're not even American. Like why would they care about our elections, right?
Yeah,
No,
old Rita fucking as one of the fucking
right.
moderators. Be hilarious.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be the fucking debate of the century. But yeah, it is kind of hard to tell. Obviously there's positives and there's negatives on both sides, whether or not Donald Trump should debate or whether he shouldn't. Of course, the positives is like I mentioned in the previous one, is he does get a chance to point out the obvious facts, I'm fucking under indictment, or I'm a convicted felon because of the fact that you guys are committing political lawfare against me. Like, he does get to bring out those zingers and stuff like that, which does just kind of further his popularity. And at the same time, anytime Donald Trump opens his mouth on national TV, it heightens his popularity. It doesn't matter whether he's saying something that's for the base or whether he's saying something that's for the not the undecided voters. It doesn't matter. Everything increases popularity at this point. Even the stuff that the establishment thinks is going to increase Kamala Harris's popularity does not. Taking in for example, the Taylor Swift endorsement. Of course, that's their go-to celebrities. All these fucking people that have signed their life away since they were teenagers and shit, that are literally puppets for whoever the fuck is paying them money at the time. Let's get those people to endorse people. But obviously, people aren't giving a shit about that anymore. I mean, I don't know how much of it is people are actually paying attention, or how much of it is obviously the economy. People cannot afford shit. Why the fuck am I going to take advice from these people that don't ever have to worry about affording shit in their life? These people that don't go without, wipe their fucking ass with, $100 worth of toilet paper every time. You're like, maybe that's what it is, but but in the simplest terms. But one way or another, I think that Donald Trump would benefit, from another debate.
I
I
don't
do
know
think.
because it seemed like he was kind of deflated with that one with Camel. Like he almost thought he was walking into the same one that he did with Biden, where it actually seemed kind of fair, but in
Mhm.
reality, they thought it was going to benefit Biden. With the terms and whatnot, it just ended up backfiring. But that's what he thought he was walking into, and it was like as soon as they started fact checking him and shit, it was like he crawled inside of himself. Like he said, he wasn't trying to stick up for himself as far as firing back, and he had a couple of zingers, and his closing was good, but he's got to realize he's walking into enemy territory. Even if it was Fox, that's why I don't even know why Camel's tripping. Because I mean, what was the first channel to call 2020? Fucking Fox, man. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I think even if he agrees just blatantly to, all right, two debates, one on your network, which would technically be three on your network if you include the Joe Biden one, which you would because that's part of the 2024 presidential debate calendar. So three on a left wing network, and then just one single one on a mildly conservative network like Fox News. I think that would also resonate with people. I mean, of course, it also depends on how the media reports it as well. Whether they report it as, oh, Donald Trump agrees or, doesn't agree to a debate unless it's on a network with a bias towards him. I don't know. Though they'll report it in some sort of way. I'm not great at writing headlines, as you can see from the titles of these videos most of the time. But yeah, they'll write it up like that. So I mean, it all depends too. Like I say, just whichever way they end up the people end up interpreting it, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, at least you know, in the polls, you know, here in Arizona, he seems to be up, and he, like I say, he seems to be, you know, rising constantly. And again, you know, the polls don't matter, but in terms of historical, historically, how Donald Trump's polled, I mean, you know better than anybody, he's always outperformed the polls, and at the same time, even in 2016, he was behind in the polls, you know.
Yeah, you know, he's never had a clear cut lead. I mean, you know, through either of those election cycles, it was always, you know, Hillary's a shoe in. Oh, fucking Biden's winnings. Biden's winnings. I mean, the whole time. So to see, you know, even left wing posters a lot of these times, like the New York Times and whatnot, coming out and, you know, saying he's ahead is, you know, pretty amazing because, like you said, he definitely outperforms the polls.
Yep. And of course, Kamala is drastically sinking day by day by day as the astroturf of the mainstream media starts to, you know, become a thin veil, and the people are starting to see through it. Right. Of course, Kamala Harris, you know, anytime you ask a Kamala Harris voter what they're voting for, of course, you know, you already know the answer is they're voting for whatever is not Donald Trump. But ultimately, if you ask them further, you know, what they're actually voting, you know, what's their favorite you know, policy, you know, like what's why, you know, what do you identify with Kamala Harris? Of course, you'll have people that'll do their identity politics, and then you'll have people that just say roundabout questions like, I want change, I want things to be good, like I want things to get better, you know. uh, I don't know, they'll just say the basic you know, Kamala Harris slogans, you know. And yeah, so I mean, yeah, I forgot where I was going with where I started with it, but either way, yeah, Kamala Harris is sinking by the day. Donald Trump's still continuing to rise. There was a bit of a dip when they switched from Joe Biden to Kamala Harris, but ultimately, I think that's weared away. You know, I think, yeah, I think the luster has lost its shine, and the turd is all that remains.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, even the media is starting to talk shit. You know, I mean, you had CNN interviewing, I forgot the chick's name that just sat down with her for that so-called interview, but you know, they asked her about it, and even she went on to say, well, she, you know, she doesn't answer questions. You know what I mean? Like, you know, faced with an easy question like, what will you do to bring down costs? She, you know, goes on with some fucking spiel. You know, it was like, you know, if you don't have, if you know, GOP takes, you know, the House, the Senate, and you know, you don't have that power, how are you going to raise taxes?
All
Well,
right.
we have to raise taxes. Like what? Like that's not the fucking question, man.
Right. She go into fucking, you know, a whole 20 minutes of ranting about fucking what was it? Uh,
People, her
uh
lawn and fucking being raised.
Holistic. We need
Oh
to do it
yeah,
in a
yeah. I mean,
holistic manner, right?
mhm.
Opportunity economics here. That's what we're talking about. Okay.
Formed holistically through holistic fucking patterns and means because it's, you know, it's holistic.
Yep. Fucking yeah.
Word of the
That
day, man. That's that word calendar.
right. That really uh, again, you know, for however not as powerful of a position as people actually think it is, people really pay attention to who's voting for, or to who's running for president, you know, considering, you know, their actual job is basically giving their stamp of approval or their veto stamp, and then you know, they make recommendations, they go and give speeches and stuff like that, they make appointments, they do the appointing, and then there are chief foreign diplomats to the, you know, most people don't actually understand what they do, but the general public at large, they really pay attention to the presidential um, uh, uh, races. You know,
Yeah,
I
the
guess
face of
that,
America.
yeah, that too. It is the scapegoat of America as well too, and so I guess
Yeah.
people look for someone to either say, you know, like, oh, you know, this person's going to fix it, or you know, they're the problem with America. You know, so I think that's why people really pay attention to it. But either way, you can't hide fucking stupid from America
Mhm.
for very long. You know, I mean, their ideological subversion has worked pretty well, and so a lot of people really are to the point where just, I don't care, I'll vote for her because she's black and she has a vagina and she likes vaginas. You know, But
Yeah, like the memes everywhere, man. You know, fucking standing in a bread line in 2026 because my wife wanted to be able to have abortions that she'll never have, or fucking, you know what I mean? Like, you know, in World War III because my wife wanted a female president. You know, shit like that, and that's who you know her major supporters are fucking men. And you see the polls about what you know policies are important. Men, it's economics. Women, it's abortion. That's fucking. It's an embarrassment, man. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yep. I mean, Kamala's voters are, either the low information voters or they're the ultra wealthy, if I can, top 10% fucking voters.
The stupid smart people, you know. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, you could be an attorney and be great at you know defending people in fucking a court of law, but be completely you know politically inept. You know what I
Oh yeah.
mean?
Oh yeah,
Fucking
dude.
Mark Cuban.
I see them all the fucking time, man. Like, obviously in our line of work, we're in people's houses and stuff. And so we see people of all different walks of life, and we see people that obviously have gigantic houses, but they have Kamala signs in their front yard or on their car or something like that. And obviously they're more than likely just wrapped up in their work, because I don't know, you see all different types, people that you wouldn't expect to be Kamala voters. And yeah, every time you ask them, like, oh well, what do you think? Well, it's racism. Dude,
Mhm.
I actually had somebody the other day tell me that obviously something I'm not going to get too deep into, but apparently at the end of it, their reason for it was clearly because of racism. And fucking and actually, let me tell you about what's going on today, because that's actually the big thing. Is there hasn't been this much racism in the world until everybody felt comfortable with all this Donald Trump thing going on. I was just like, oh man, dude. If I wasn't at work,
Right.
I was just sitting there like, well, I'm gonna go back to work now.
Right. I've been hearing the same shit. Yesterday, I had a cat that I've talked to on several occasions, and he's never come at me with anything political. But then he starts talking, and he's like talking about racism, and he's like, "Well, I don't hate people. I'm not a hardcore Republican or nothing." You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck, man?
All right, man. Fucking yeah, it's just low information people that just every now and then they'll, oh, let me read the paper with my coffee and donut or something like that. Or it's people that like I say, just catch the news when they're fucking in passing or something like that on CNN. But
30-second sound bites on fucking Instagram, shit like that.
yep. Or just people that pay people to think for them. Like people that pay people to give me my political position for me. I'm sure there's people out there like that, Tell me which campaigns to donate to, whatever's going to help my fucking dollar grow. And of course, obviously, what's going to help their fucking dollar grow is the printing of money and basically subsidizing it out to these giant corporations and businesses and shit like that, which ultimately, if Kamal's economic plans do get implemented, is what is going to end up happening, because of course you could only fix prices for so long until a company goes completely under, unless you use tax subsidies to prop up that company to the point where it becomes government fucking bread and everybody's in a goddamn bread line. That's
Yeah.
Kamalanomics 101. That's what she means by opportunity economics. It's an opportunity for the government to seize fucking the means of production.
And the lefties that you know boycotted companies and you know the Occupy Wall Street bullshit for bailouts. It's the exact same thing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
now they're cheering for it. Like we've got votes for camels, man. Like she's gonna help prices. Like she's gonna fucking destroy everything.
Right. Do you guys not have any sense of pattern recognition here? Like yeah, fucking absolutely insane. But yeah, and then the other insane thing is she has mentioned recently that she wants to eliminate the filibuster. Right. Of course, that has been a left-wing attack point for some time now. But of course, Kamala's reasoning is because she wants to reinstitute a form of Roe v. Wade, but she wants to do it through federal legislature. So, of course, in order to do that, she has to eliminate the filibuster. Um, man, what you want to go into some more details about the left wing's attack on the give us what the filibuster is and how it protects America.
It protects as far as it keeps it to where you know they need a supermajority to get shit passed, which is you know usually entails bipartisanship. and it can be held up. Bills where you've seen, like Rand Paul, for instance, stand on the floor and talk for hours to hold bills up. And it's been used as a cudgel. It's been used as a negotiation tool. There's different stories on how long it's been used in our government. Some as old as 240, some 111 or some shit, right? But either way, it's been used for a minimum of a century, and for good and bad purposes. And you've seen when they've done away with it previously, like Harry Reid to confirm appointments for Obama, and the crowning achievement of the old Turtle Mitch fucking era is him telling them, this is a mistake and it will be used against you and possibly sooner than you think. And sure enough, Trump took office, and that's the reason that you have Merrick Garland at the head of the DOJ trying to fry people rather than a lifetime appointment with the Supreme Court, is exactly because of that. And you got fucking Neil Gorsuch. So it can be used for good, it can be used for evil, but doing away with it is just a single party rule that makes it to where you need a simple majority. And like the situation currently, that deciding vote would be Camel.
Yep. Or, if she gets elected, be old fucking tampon Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, it would be, our democracy, as they put it. Right. And of course, with them, stuffing congressional districts and stuff like that with illegal immigrant voters, it would ultimately be their democracy, seeing as there's now going to be, 10,000 fucking migrants in Midwestern America, all up and down the fucking, everywhere, every fucking where, all of these, small, red strongholds, as the Democrats like to say. Oh, land don't vote. Like, well, they just went ahead and filled what used to be, our lands with migrants. And so basically now land does get to vote, and they get to vote Democrat, right?
Yeah. And the ones that don't get to vote, they don't get to vote immediately, will be counted in the census, and will have representation regardless, thereby probably creating a one fucking party state, man.
Yep. Yeah. So there's that. But yeah. So either way, we could have on demand abortions, though, federally mandated, every state.
And we can just keep sending billions to countries that ultimately have nothing to do with your fucking well-being, other than them taking from you to give to them, or borrowing in your fucking grandchildren's name, man.
Yep. Which ultimately, I mean, this is really kind of the economic system that was designed to fail from the start. I mean, there's only so long that you could continue to inflate your dollar slightly and slightly and slightly up until the point that you start to compound, that inflation. And that's when you get, your runaway inflations and whatnot. And especially when you have a government that's completely, frivolous with our money, and they just don't actually think anything through. They just, think of how much they could spend. What else can we print? What else? How much can we spend in one year? All right, what was that I sent you earlier? I had fucking Chat GBT do the math. It turns out we spend like $12 million a minute or some shit like that. It's fucking insane. If you do, if you just do the math based on our what we physically spent in 2023 and break it down, we spend around $12 million a minute to our
Borrowing $1
government.
trillion every fucking 60 days or whatever the fuck it is. And, just keeps digging the hole deeper with no compunction, not even a thought, at this point. And it's, obviously the Federal Reserve Act, when he just said the system, that's not the American system, that's fractional banking fucking system, which the majority of our founders were against. And you've seen the fucking value of the dollar lose 92% since the inception. And the inception was supposedly to protect the value of the fucking dollar.
All right. Yep, the sweetest lies, man. Taking the path to hell is paved with good intentions, but ultimately the intentions were never good. I mean, the Federal Reserve fucking system is, like I said, it's been designed to fail. It is incepted in fucking back rooms in the middle of the night, without anybody fucking to be the wiser. Uh, yeah. So I mean, it's just come to roost, and it's actually come to roost on this generation. Maybe. We'll see. I mean, we can still get to the point where we're paying, like $20 for a loaf of bread, and ultimately, everybody's, don't worry, it's going to be okay though, because everybody's making $100 an hour, $100 an hour minimum wage. So we're going to be able to afford that $50 loaf of bread, just with half an hour's wages. It's all right.
Fucking terrible, man. And most of the time you try to talk to anyone about this kind of shit, and they just glaze over. As soon as you start talking money, and they're like, "Well, I don't want to talk politics." Like, I'm talking economics, man. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's tied to politics. Everything is in your life, regardless if you think so or not. Fuck, what's in your fucking soda? You know what I mean? Is affected politically, but you know, the point is the money is the problem, man, and it's
Yeah.
spending. It's not revenue. It's fucking spending.
Yep. And that's why it doesn't matter, even though it's not our troops going over there fighting the Russians and shit, as that's literally that is a Russian strategy. Just throw fucking men at it. Just keep throwing men. Keep throwing men. They will eventually run out of money before we run out of men. That's their fucking strategy, right? So it doesn't matter if we're fighting them through, proxies or not. We're sending over our money and our equipment, and we're deflating the value of our dollar so much to a point where it doesn't matter. You're going to be spending fucking $50 a round just for 5.56 ammo. And so in which case it doesn't matter, because you can't even fucking fight a war, because you're just going to have to spend so much monopoly fucking money that nobody's going to want it anymore. Nobody's going to be willing to work for it anymore. You're going to have a social collapse on the domestic front before you end up even having to fucking go ship anybody off overseas. Right? They're just going to destroy America from the inside. And that's always been the damn plan, because that's the only way that you can actually destroy America, because you can't send fucking boats, you can't send planes, you can't send anything over here without us being able to pick it up beforehand. Unless you're China, then you could send hot air balloons and we won't notice it until it completely goes across our country.
Right.
But but yeah, America is the most defensible fucking nation on the face of this damn earth, And so yeah, the only way that you could destroy it is from the inside. And so as long as we continue these proxy wars and all of this spending abroad, while at the same time we're creating more and more foreign enemies, very strong foreign enemies at that, we're forcing alliances in places that would not normally have been. And yeah, we're sowing our own destruction, even though we're sitting back fucking thinking like, oh, don't worry, it's not our sons and daughters that are being shipped off to go fucking be slaughtered by the fucking boatload. Like, doesn't matter, it's still our fucking dollars that are doing it.
Yeah, and we all know that there's actually boots over there. They're training fools. They're teaching them to use weaponry, teaching them to fucking use large equipment, so on and so forth. I mean, that's it's been happening under the guise of UN and private contractors and shit like that. And the
Yep.
money, like you're saying, spending. I mean, they just announced 8 billion going to fucking Ukraine, but quietly they also added 8 billion to Israel.
Right.
So and
Yep.
then on the scale, like Israel is this dot, what? Not that Ukraine's that large, but they're much larger than Israel. And again, they act like the one. It's that's World War III, when in reality, 1 million people have died just on the other side of Europe.
Right. No, it's actually funny is how the Kamala campaign, when in terms of economics, they don't do what a lot of the people would, I guess, that would, I guess, try to push to low information voters in terms of inflation, that it was from Donald Trump's stimuluses and all this and that, the largest spending package in United States history. And the reason for that is because they fucking upped it every single fucking year since then without giving any of it to you.
Right.
That's why they don't fucking bring up Trump stimuluses. That's why they don't bring up anything other than the job losses, which were obviously from COVID, obviously from the government shutdown, which again was from the political establishment, from the
Yeah, and
top down.
the only reason they mention that is so they can go, well, we fucking gained 16 million jobs,
Right.
when in reality it's like 2.
Right. Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, in terms of spending, which is the primary source of inflation, yeah, that would, you would think that'd be a layup for them. You know, like, oh well, Donald Trump just sent fucking thousands of dollars to all the citizens. Well, it actually helped the fucking economy more than it fucking than all of you sending billions of dollars to foreign fucking nations to go blow themselves up or fucking go fight other people and blow them up. You know, oh, that actually benefited us a whole lot more than fighting your fucking foreign wars for your fucking global hegemony and your power. You know, like, turns out fucking those stimuluses weren't so bad. Obviously, in terms of any sort of sane economics, they were terrible.
Right.
But in terms of the damage from the stimulus checks compared to the fucking stimulus checks for Zelensky and fucking other, you know, other foreign countries, yeah, the economic damage was much worse from foreign wars because ultimately it benefited the American people in absolutely no way whatsoever.
And they, that they just keep doing the same shit. I mean, over and over. Even the wall, right? 5 billion's too much for Trump's fucking vanity wall, but yet we've spent 545 billion to house and feed fucking immigrants. You know what I mean? In a year. So that's, fuck. The constant insanity, man. And then you have these fucking leftists, people you're close with, what have you. Like they're more for the people. They're for the working peoples. No, they're not. They're for the fucking war machine and the Cloward Piven strategy, man.
Yep. Yeah, that's all these people that, you know, have just, you know, like I say, haven't paid attention to anything since back in the 90s, you know, since back when the Democrats were the party of, you know, your fucking, I don't know, just your nobody, you know, just the working man, or they were the party of the unions, or they're the party of the artists and the fucking the bleeding hearts and all that shit, or, you know, back before the fucking bleeding hearts became fucking psychotic, fucking blue haired psychopaths, you know?
Yeah, they never really were. I mean, you think
Yeah.
JFK, I mean, he stood up to his own party and they fucking lynched his ass. You know what I'm saying? And, Joe Biden's, they knew that guy was fucking a dead body before they installed him, man. He was the Trojan corpse. Like, you know what I mean? He could get away with things that Obama couldn't because, like it was put, right? He's too old and fucking feeble to be prosecuted. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll get Hunter on some minor charges and leave out the shit that's going to implicate his dad, and we'll have him promise not to pardon him.
Do you still think? Do you think Biden's gonna fucking pardon Hunter like right after the election?
I mean, you'd think it's his son, but at the same time, apparently, just recently he was asked, and he reiterated the same shit. Said no, you know.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but we'll find out. That doesn't mean he can't put a stay. He might not do an out and out pardon. I mean, there's other ways to do things.
That's true.
And
Yeah.
that could be part of the package. If Camel Toes is fucking, in place, that's part of the deal of stepping aside. Go retire in the sunset, Joe. Don't worry. We'll look out for Connor.
Right. Yeah. Fucking. Do you think he actually stepped aside? Do you think he was more pushed aside, and then he finally just said, fuck it, I'm going to bed"?
I definitely think he was pushed, but I'm sure that there was different things thrown at him to get him, to walk away. Because ultimately, you know, short of killing him, all he's got to do is walk outside, and there's a million cameras waiting to fucking look at him, and he could have said whatever he wanted. Like right now, he's on this tour, these stops he's made, The View, shit like that. And what is he saying? Like, I delegated power to Campbell. There's nothing she couldn't do. Everything from economics to foreign fucking affairs. You know what I mean? And he's, throwing her under the bus because she's trying
Right.
hard to distance herself as if she's not part of the incumbent administration. That's why she's promising fucking, I brought you change. And,
Right. Day one.
yeah,
Everything's day one. Bitch, you're there right now.
right.
The fuck you talking about day one? Day one was fucking years ago.
Day one of my presidency, I'll do a complete 180 of everything that I claimed for years.
Right.
I promise.
Right. You can count on me because I've always been true to that.
I mean, recent videos coming out, never, of throwbacks of her dancing in the fucking street with protesters, down with deportation, up with education, and the repeated lines of just because they're illegal doesn't make them criminals, to that effect. And now all of a sudden, I've always been about secures as borders is.
Right. Yeah. Now she's down here in Arizona, Is she gonna be here today or tomorrow or something like
She
that?
was here today.
Sure,
Yeah.
it's here today. Yeah, yeah, fucking down here in Arizona trying to rally at the border. Like, bitch, this is your fault. Like, you're fucking losing Arizona, and it's for a reason. And it's not just because of the fact that you fucking put on weird accents for fucking people.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's her first time. That's probably the closest she's been to the border since she's been fucking vice president. Because you remember when before her previous so-called trip, she went to El Paso, which was hundreds of miles from Eagle Pass, where all the shit was cracking off. And here a little closer to the border, but yeah, it's still not, man. Go down where you and I were crossing, where they're just standing there waving people through and not doing shit, or times we've driven through there and there's not even been anyone standing at the border
yeah,
checkpoint, you know?
yep, yeah, dude, fucking, yep, yeah. And then she wants to claim that she got the endorsement of Border Patrol.
Yeah. And, she also went on to apparently say that, she was pivotal in getting them fucking, more overtime pay, whatever. And, I don't know if you've seen, but it's all over X where people are posting like the quote from the Border Patrol page where they're like, this is a lie. Like, just
Yeah,
like everything else associated with the border and camel toes, this is bullshit.
yep, absolute fucking garbage. But okay, so real quick, you want to talk about the Red Mirage, the mail-in ballots, and we'll combine that with the voting machines that are capable of being hacked. All right, so yeah, so obviously the Red Mirage is in reference to what happened in the 2024 or 2020 election, right?
3 a.m. fucking pipe busts and whatnot. Water
Right,
main breaks.
right. So obviously it's in reference to being a mirage where you think, oh, victory is just right there. I could see it. It's Donald Trump standing there at the fucking podium. And then fucking right there in the middle of the night, oh, the old switcheroo. And all of a sudden, nope, it's fucking Joe Biden, right? So they're saying, oh, the public should get ready just in case that happens again, right? So obviously their whole thing is mail-in ballots, right? So the mail-in ballots thing, it used to be just for like military people overseas and shit, right? Up until what was it, the 2020 20 was it 2020 or 2016? 2020, right?
2020 is when they started doing like the mass mail out. But
Yeah.
even previously, like I voted by mail for years, man.
All right. All
Fucking
right.
since like 2000 fucking 11 or something. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's been around for a minute, but originally that's what it was intended for, fucking soldiers and people abroad that's in business and shit like that.
Okay. And then, of course, the last part of this whole trifecta here is the voting machines have. So there's a person that went on the Patrick Bet David show, and they basically proved how the voting machines could be hacked with a simple USB stick, right? So this was part of a giant hackathon that was going on in Las Vegas. Yeah, I've heard of those types of things. I mean, the company we work for actually hosts them every now and then in one of their facilities. But yeah, I guess it's just a whole bunch of fucking hackers and shit just come together and just try to break electronics. They try to break fucking systems and just. I guess somebody came up with this sort of system that is able to hack the Dominion machines. Of course, we can't use the name Dominion, otherwise we'll get sued by Dominion. I'm just kidding. I don't think that's actually true, but yeah, either way, they have been known for going after people that criticize their voting machines, namely Tucker Carlson, right? Um, so yeah, what give us your thoughts on this whole trifecta, basically what they're trying to prime us for, what they're going to do, and the possible shenanigans that could be going down.
Yeah, the old malarkeys, dude. I mean, obviously, fucking, the main one is multiple sources, mostly left leaning, and fucking the FBI included. Right? You repeat yourself, but they're all getting you ready for. Well, we might not know for a while. It might take days, yada yada. I mean, they're already ready in that. Where other countries in the West show you. I mean, they have the results that fucking night. Countries that aren't as large, but obviously you need more counters. Then you know what I'm saying? And and most of them don't use like machines or mail-in ballots. All that shit's like illegal in a lot of those countries. And then, the red mirage, of course, 3 a.m. flip flops, just enough votes in this county and, find me 11,000, what have you, right? All bullshit. I mean, we know about, the Ruby stories where, you see video of them fucking running the same ballots over and over. People holding fucking styrofoam, plates over windows, during counting, so on and so forth. I mean, obvious shenanigans. You can say what you want, there's not enough voter frauds for flipping. I mean, you don't know that some of these counties were won by just a couple thousand votes. So, real slim margins, pretty easy to flip. And then places like here, like, Arizona, for whatever reason, early voting, is already starting. And they're like, well, we're not going to start counting the ballots till the day of. Like, well, what's the fuck is the sense of, getting early voting then? Like, count it as it comes in. And again,
Yeah,
you got to wonder what kind of shenanigans are, going to pop off, man. You know, and
I could have.
then the hacking. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I could have sworn some legislation was just passed actually that said that we're gonna count the mail-in ballots ahead of time. Just none of the results were going to be posted until the day of.
The latest one, the only one that I've seen was something like a late hour decision of the signatures have to be verified before they can be counted.
Hmm.
So I'm not positive. I mean, you know how it's been here. They use one thing and then the court fucking overturns it, and it's been a
Right.
nonstop fucking doo doo fest here.
Yeah.
Especially with the whole, there's 98,000 people that aren't fucking eligible, but they've already voted, so we're not going to take that right away. They can vote full ballot. What
Yeah.
the fuck? You know what I mean? I mean that's obvious fucking election fucking interference, subversion, what have you.
Right.
The hacking,
Arizona's
this dude.
Arizona's elections have been a battlefield.
Yeah,
Election integrity has been a battlefield over the last few months.
yeah. I mean, and it's leftist shenanigans, of course, with Scaby Hobbs. The Secretary of State. You see Gallego just didn't show up to a debate with Kerry Lake. I mean, doing the Scaby Hobb thing. I mean, it's all just leftist bullshit, right? And with the hacking, you've seen this dude had to slow his shit down. Like he's like, this would take 6 to 7 seconds total. Like he had to slow it down so you could actually see the process. I mean, he got into these systems so fast. And we know this isn't the first time. In previous years, they've done this in front of Congress and shit in a courtroom, and live hack fucking voting machines where they swear to you they can't be connected to the internet, but yet there's an internet issue with the fucking ballots. That's why it was printed on the wrong size, and thought it couldn't connect to the internet. I mean, it's just nonstop shit, man.
Right. Yep. Yeah. It's just fucking patch one hole, another one pops up. There's just they're just trying to poke hole. They're really just trying to destroy the system.
Yeah, and it's disgusting that you got so many, such a large portion of the population that's, not only cheering it on, but like, fucking celebrating it. Like it's just insane. I mean, where do you think that you've been able to enjoy the life that you have, and the envy of the fucking world at one point, and you're enjoying the downfall. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
You're right.
Even the socialists and so-called communists in this country benefit from capitalism and the constitutional rights on a daily basis. They use them against you.
Yeah. Yep. Which will bring us to our next topic, which is the implications of whether or not, or whether Donald Trump or whether Kamala Harris ends up winning. We'll go ahead. We'll start with old camel toes because we'll talk about the possibility of the Trump one, which will lead us into our next topic, which is assassinations. So yeah, camel toes. What do you think is going America would look like under camel toes rule? We'll start with just after the inauguration. Up to the inauguration. Start with the beginning, I guess.
As far as like the effects of policy or just the reaction like socially or
Yeah, just I don't know. Just I guess just paint your picture of what the next 4 years would look like.
it looked like fucking high taxes, expensive goods, even more expensive fucking energy. It's going to be you know, fuck Atlas shrugged. I mean, you're going to see a lot of businesses fucking shutting down, moving out of the country. so on and so forth, man. And the model. I mean, you got to remember she's a California politician, and what are they doing there? I mean, they're outlawing parental rights. Outlawing fucking memes. So you're not allowed to fuck talk mean about me and make cartoons. I mean, signing reparations bills. I mean, it just keeps going, and everything that has gone California, the rest of the country's in the process of rolling out or will shortly. And again, she's been for all this the entire time up until 50 days before the election, and now she's all about firearms. She's a firearm owner. She'll shoot intruders. She wants a secure border. Always been about secures as borders. She's a blue collar middle class worker, just like you, is working the frises. I mean, it's just fuck nincompoopery with done holistically.
Right.
Yeah,
Holistic
and that's all
bullshit.
you see. Yeah, and that's all you see coming, man. Because her policy is just talking points or click paste from fucking Joe Biden's or the Communist Manifesto. Like we will not go back. All that shit is communist shit. It's been right on their site, like their fucking motto. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Together we're just going forwards. All you need is the red flag in the background.
Yep. Yeah, I'd like to print up a bunch of fucking just communist, fucking hammer and sickle stickers. Just go around to the fucking camel toes, fucking campaign signs all over, and just whoosh, whoosh,
Right.
whoosh, just stack them on all over.
Everything red and white except for a yellow star. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. But yeah. So my vision is, I guess, the inauguration is going to go off rough. They're going to plan something similar to a January 6th. And what I mean by they're going to plan, I don't mean the conservatives or the MAGA extremisms. I think the Camel Toes campaign is going to plan something to where they could basically stoke some sort of act that they could try and frame as, oh, see, they're not accepting the results. They're going to go riot in the streets, blah, blah, blah. And
Just got to take their firearms.
Right. And I think that's going to be used as the catalyst for the tyrannical stuff that they're going to be doing over the next 4 years, which is going to start with arresting a lot of these, more well-known political commentators. Right. They're already, as I guess we can go ahead and talk about, they're already trying to fast track George Soros into being able to take over a lot of the, radio content. So there's a lot of talk radio that's going to be basically controlled by the most well-known Democrat, left-wing communist donor in the world.
Communist, straight Nazis.
Right. Straight
legitimately.
Nazi. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, there's that. They're gonna, try and take over. They're gonna try and take over, control of information and basically try and demonize the MAGA extremist, right? Basically, going off of this, whatever event they end up, stoking. And then, of course, it's Kamalanomics is going to be dumb and lacking, and I mean dumb as in an actual dumb like that, like. Oh, the kitchen's on fire. What do we do? Like that kind of dumb. The place is burning down.
Fine.
Yeah, just throw some gas on it. See if that helps. That's
Right.
that's gonna be their economic plan for the next 4 years. And like we were just talking about, bread is gonna go up to $5 a loaf, and then by the end of her 4 years, it's going to be up to $20 for a fucking loaf of bread, and your income is just going to go up slightly, just slightly, just enough to where you could barely afford that fucking loaf of bread. And of course, the loaf of bread is obviously just kind of metaphorical for everything else. It's not like we're basing our economics off a loaf of bread. It's anything, the price of gas, the price of being able to produce work, right?
Red lines are great, though. I mean, especially with the American communists, right? All burning like red lines are good,
right? Yeah. So I mean, like we were talking about, even that they're probably going to fucking end up collapsing a lot of these large businesses and companies that have basically kept America afloat for so long are you're gonna end up eating the bugs because the government is gonna end up taking over, a lot of these nutrition, um, I guess nutrition fucking bureaucracies. That's what it's going to end up being. Where basically they assign you. Everybody's on food stamps, right? That's how we afford food now. Everybody's on food stamps. And how do we afford the food stamps? That doesn't matter. Don't worry about that. We'll figure that out when that fucking bubble bursts. Okay.
Flowers businesses.
Yep. And so yeah, it's just going to be more and more uh, slow economic destruction, slow destruction of the American will. But the bright side, if you consider it a bright side, again, people are going to notice. People are going to not be able to help but notice, and they're going to again look into what the fuck is going on. Why can I not afford to make fucking bacon and eggs in the morning anymore? Why can't I even afford fucking Frosted Flakes anymore? Like people are going to start that's what the stuff people notice, that the average everyday person. And they're going to start this MAGA movement. This basically sound economics movement is basically going to start growing, and hopefully we'll have some people that'll wake up, and hopefully everything is not completely destroyed and we have not completely gone to war within the next 4 years, and we're able to render something from the ashes. Another I guess aspect to think about too in terms of Kamala is, how is the Middle East going to feel about negotiating with old Camel Toes Harris, right? How is you really think she's going to be able to negotiate peace between Iran and Israel? How do you think that's going to end up working out? How do you think it's going to work out with her going and trying to fucking intimidate Putin? Like, how is any of that going to work out? Again, the reason that we've not had she's going to do it holistically. But yeah, there's a reason that we haven't had a woman president, and it's not because of fucking sexism or anything like that.
It is though.
It's it's because of the fact that their main job is being the face of America to the rest of the world. They're our chief foreign diplomat. They're the person that basically goes over there and even if they don't fucking talk to the other nation, they're the person that intimidates the other fucking nation. Just by their fucking their bravado, their aura, their legend, even and Kamala doesn't have that. It doesn't exist. And Teflon Don, as he's obviously known, he's got that. He's got that thing that basically commands respect, especially among foreign leaders. So I think that's the way that the Kamala Harris 4 years is going to go, is absolute slow, painful destruction of America until people burst and just fucking blow this place up.
I think this slows over. The saying, it goes slow at first, and until it goes real fast, right? And I think that 4 years is probably just going to be the real fast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, probably the first fucking woman, the first black woman of color, because you don't know what the fuck to call her, president, and the fucking place is gonna collapse like within the first 6 months.
Right, like your companies that have went woke and brought in female CEOs and marketing chiefs and so on and so forth, and then they're boycotted and lose billions of dollars of market space, and and that's what happens. I mean,
Right.
It's not about intelligence. It's not about saying, I mean, well, with Camel, it is. We'll be real there. But women in general, it's not about intellect or anything. It's about, we think differently. We run on different things. Like ours tends to be more logical based and reality, and theirs is feelings and fucking whims and unicorn delusions as far as what they think it should or could be.
But well, have you ever thought that reality might be sexist? You ever think that?
Exactly, and there is sexism involved. I'm not going to lie, and I'm not even speaking for myself. I'm talking in
Yeah.
general. There's a lot of people that just won't vote for a woman as president. Man, I mean, like you said, there's got to be a certain aura, a stance of power, and command, respect, and a cackling chick that's a complete fucking moron that loves to just repeat platitudes over and over is not that. I'm sorry,
Right.
you know.
Right. Yeah, it really is just this generation where we've demonized a lot of the stuff that really has kept society safe, over time, such as the nuclear family, sexism, um, xenophobia. All of these things have been demonized, but ultimately, all of these things have kept societies safe and growing and prosperous for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. But ultimately, we get to this point where no, we're the greatest generation that has ever lived, even though our collective intelligence has diminished for the first time in human, at least recorded human history. Over the previous generation to this one, but no, we're the smartest ones, and we know that everyone has been wrong since ever. So yeah, that's the world that we live in now. It really is idiocracy.
Yeah, but some like I've heard similar shit there. The theory there about IQs declining for the first time in recorded history and shit. But it's the whole repeats itself. I mean, you went from fucking Romans having sewers, toilets, and fucking powered automatic doors to people fucking living in squalor and no one could read but priests and you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
While
I
the
mean,
while the wealthy elites have decadent orgies and shit like that
man,
with
they live
animals
in
and
this. They live in the skeletons of Roman temples and fucking castles, and they're like giants built these. Is you know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. But yeah. So that's So what's your what do you think is going to ultimately end up happening if Donald Trump wins? Well, first, obviously, we'll talk about the social aspect of everything, and then we'll talk about the possible economic and policy aspects of it. So what do you
Well,
think is going to happen after inauguration if he even makes it that far?
right. If the man gets to live, right?
Right.
One you got like big eyed fucking Schiff again, a dude that fucking is a representative of a specific area in a state in the country, right? Trying to put forth a bill to make it to where Trump can't just undo the federal charges against him if he fucking becomes president, which lets you know that they're pretty positive he's winning. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And then as far as if he makes it into office, I mean, 2017 all over again, of course, dude. I mean, DC is going to be on fire. There'll be fucking cops hurt, if not murdered, and millions, if not billions of dollars in damage, yada yada. And then there'll be constant fucking obstruction. The vast majority of everything that he's going to want to accomplish, if he doesn't have control of, a majority, like a decent majority in at least Congress, it's going to be all executive fucking fiat, which obviously leaves it open to be undone on day one of a Democrat presidency. But economically, unicorn utopias. Right? No, I'm just playing, but I do see him doing some deregulations. I mean, the tax plans he's talking about are pretty good. Mixed emotions on the tariffs, but if it's actually going to take place, take the place of out and out taxes, like leave my fucking check alone, dude. I'm definitely open to it. You know what I mean? A lot of the plans that he's trying to put forward, if he could get it through, I mean, that's be life altering for some people, right? Like liberal white women out here that are fucking, older, living on Social Security and shit, talking about you're voting for camel toes. Like, dude, I mean, you're gonna be fucking, owing your fucking untaxed gains for your houses and yada yada. And the CBO now has come out and said the Social Security's it's not gonna be there. In just years, it's gonna be gone. So without a total turnaround, which is his plan, at least economically, vastly different. And I think you'll see peace break out in a lot of places where there's not currently for
Yep.
the fear, right? Like you said, bravado, even if they only believe him fucking, a couple of percentage points that he's going to melt everyone in here. It's going to give people at minimum trepidations. And, I believe he can negotiate peace with, old hairy midget Zelensky and fucking Pooty Poots, dude.
Yep.
And they
Yeah.
don't want it. That's one of the main reasons they don't want it. About to shut
Yeah.
down the laundromat.
Yep. Shut down the war machine, guys. There goes our paychecks. Yep. But
They could still fight in the Middle East though, because he'll still back fucking
yeah. Oh yeah.
Israel.
He'll still send
You know?
money to Israel. Like, that's
Yeah.
for sure. You can bet on that. But So my honest belief, I think they're going to kill him. I don't think he's going to make it to inauguration. I think it's going to be like all hell, all hands on deck. I think it's going to be a like fucking what was that movie? Fucking SWAT. Remember something like that, where it's like, I'll give $100 million to anybody that could get me out of here. I
Mhm.
think it's going to be something similar to that, except obviously we're already seeing the fucking mainstream media broadcasting this fucking apparent suicide / manifesto letter from the second attempted Trump assassin, and which basically says that he's also offering $150,000 to anybody that's able to get the job done. And I think it's going to be something similar to that, except it's going to be people are going to conceive for themselves a much larger reward. They're going to think it's something great, whatever. And the truth is, it probably could be, like, even if they do, and if they did does end up assassinating him, and he does end up surviving or something like that, they're gonna fucking end up trying to put this dude in witness protection. I think, and then it'll end up being the like I said, it's gonna start out, everyone's gonna be like, yeah, Trump won. They're gonna end up taking him out. We're gonna end up going nuts, and then again, same fucking scenario that I basically just played out with Kamala Harris, just with Kamala Harris back at the wheel, and all of us with without Donald Trump, and basically chomping at the bit to bring down this corrupt system. But on the optimistic side, if Donald Trump does end up making it, end up winning, I think that Donald Trump is capable of bringing this country back, economically. And I ultimately do think that Donald Trump really is kind of winning it in the streets, if you know what I'm saying. You know what I mean? I don't
Mhm.
think it's going to be uh, as much of like, fucking New York City fucking burning to the ground and fucking Minneapolis on fire while the monkeys throw the shits at each other. I don't think it's going to be as much of that as we're envisioning. Yeah, there's a lot of fucking man on the street interviews with just people in the hood and shit, just like, I'm fucking, I'm with Donald Trump, fuck Kamala Harris, fuck Biden, like there's a lot of fucking interviews and shit like that. And I mean, of course, I'm sure that they edit it and only go with the people that are actually like, yeah, I'm with Donald Trump and shit. But at the same time, there's a lot, there's quite a bit. So I don't think all that's going to be that bad. Again, like I said, if the establishment ends up letting them make it that far, it's not just the establishment. I mean, the diehard fucking Kamala, the diehard fucking Biden fans, the just diehard fucking communists. They're nuts. Like they're legit nuts. You know, and so I think a lot of those people might try and do some you know terror style attacks, within our cities and stuff like that. Definitely gonna have to.
Antifa.
Right, you're gonna have to fucking watch out for your churches, for your schools and shit like that. You're gonna have to, batten down the hatches, get fucking armed security for all those types of places, because there's definitely going to be a lot of attacks and stuff like that from a lot of unhinged leftists over the entire Trump presidency. Um, so yeah, get ready for that. But yeah, ultimately, I think pretty much like everything. I agree with everything you said. Economically and in terms of geopolitics and stuff like that. I think that Donald Trump is ultimately the only person that is capable of getting all that stuff. At least working in the right direction. At least stop the fucking downhill roll and at least get us moving in the right direction. Um, but
If anything, I'll kick the fucking can down the road for a fucking few years. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. At least we can educate, do some sort of stuff that could educate the next generation about, the put out fucking videos and documentaries, all kinds of shit about all the corruption that ended up taking place over the through the Democrats, the political lawfare, all that type of stuff. Just put out, I don't know, if I can educate our next generation about the dangers of fucking socialist and communist fucking governments and shit like that. They used to do it back in the day, right after World War II and shit. That used to be fucking part of the daily curriculum and shit, fucking how to spot a commie,
Right.
yeah, bring that shit back,
Right.
um,
Like, broadcast fucking PragerU and, Hillsdale University and, Stansberry report, fucking Hoover Institute, broadcast that shit instead of CNN. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, freaking, ultimately, I think it's definitely possible. We just need to stand strong on our values. Remember what it is to be an American. Remember, what America is meant to stand for, and don't deviate from those values for anything. Especially not for left wing terrorism. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I think all that type of stuff. It's definitely possible. Um, but ultimately, like I say, it's going to take some hard times. Like we've been saying that for quite some time, but yeah, it's really just going to take some hard times on America. And I think that a lot of Americans are starting to feel it, but it's definitely ultimately not bad enough yet to have America do like a complete turnaround back to old school values. I still think there's a lot of people that are starting to feel the effects, but they're not quite to the point yet, where they're able to blame anything for high prices other than the grocery store.
Mhm. Right. Price gouging.
Right. Yeah.
What the
So I think,
corporate greeds is.
right. Yes. I think that's going to take a little bit of time. Once we get to the point where there's no fucking corporations, everything is run by the government and you still can't afford shit. I think then people are going to finally realize, like, I think it was the government all along, man. Right.
I was
There you
trying to find
go.
I was trying to find a specific article. I believe it's the debt payment is has surpassed the GDP. Is that what it is?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we finally fucking, the levee is finally broke.
Yeah, for the first time since fucking World War II. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty intense shit. And the places that people even speak about cutting are the ones that are actually systems that you need in place, for safety, cohesion, and
Defund the police.
yeah, yeah, or cut the militaries is when they're already facing fucking recruitment shortfalls and so on, outdated equipment, so on, right? But the actual cuts need to come from real entitlements, and by entitlements, I don't mean Social Security and Medicare that you've had stolen from you your whole fucking life. I hate that they even put that in there, but the ones that make people feel entitled, which is handouts. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
Social Security benefits that you didn't actually pay into or work for.
Right.
Shit like that, man. Fucking free housing. Shit like that, man. Subsidized housing. Nobody should get that, man, unless you're, it completely fucking crippled up and physically unable to produce, even, in a sit down job or something.
Yeah. I mean, really, dude, I think fucking people just need to get back to the point of values where, like, I mean, like, even if there is a fucking crippled dude and shit like that, like, that person should be able to go and fucking ask the local, community and shit for help. Like, hey, dude, like, could I fucking, you know, wave people in at Walmart or some shit like that, and there's dude, if you're a fucking paraplegic able to fucking blink twice for yes and once for no, we should be able to find something for you to do.
Mhm.
But the problem is just we don't got that, like fucking the people don't have the surplus, because everything that you could possibly use if you own a business or something to build your business up, the government wants to fucking take, and they want to call it your fair share.
Yeah.
And it's really just like, no, dude, like, how about my fair share is, I see somebody on the street and I fucking, I offer to give them some work, like fucking, I don't know, shit. I'll even have more respect for the dude that offers to fucking clean my windshield. At least he's fucking offering something out there, like, but yeah, just everyone's just, the government just fucking wants to, oh, don't worry. You don't need to beg people for help. You don't need to fucking, feel any sort of shame. Matter of fact, you should feel proud of what you've been through because you're a victim of society. Here's some food stamps and welfare fucking assistance. Like, that's
Yep.
the
Lean,
society
lean
that we
on
built.
us. We'll take it from them. And if they're mad about it, that's because they don't like poor people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, man, what the fuck? I worked for that. I need that.
Yeah.
That's why I worked for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's rough too. I mean, I'm sure everybody fucking, knows somebody out there. Everybody at least fucking has somebody like, that they fucking pass by every day that's like, yeah, like, what the fuck's that guy doing out here? And so everybody like there are good people that are out there and shit. It's just, dude, like this society that we've built on has made people just comfortable enough to not give a shit about their lives, you know? Like
Yeah,
that's what we call taking care of the poor, you know?
yeah, and it's sad to think that when you see a person standing at the same place every day begging and they're physically able, it's not because they can't get a job. It's because fucking they're making more doing what they currently fucking doing than any job that they would be able to get with their backgrounds or fucking educations or what have you.
Right. Yep. So yeah, I mean, a lot of that, yeah, a lot of that is just going to take some hard fucking realities for people, you know. And like I said, you don't want to be the like, oh, fucking, we need to cut off food stamps, every man for themselves, you know. But ultimately, we do need to cut back on a lot of fucking stuff, or at least just have much more, um, I guess, fucking, like strict guidelines behind it, you know. Like people shouldn't just be able to fucking, oh, here, let me go fill this out, like, oh, cool, I have money now, thank you, you know. Like that shouldn't be the process, you know. Like I don't
Yeah,
know,
it
like I
should
said,
be work requirements and fucking, recorded shit that actually says that you went to fucking go for a job. You didn't just fill out an application and write down a list of fucking businesses or you know what I
right,
mean?
yeah. Yep. I mean, that's the way that it used to be back in the day. But I mean, especially again, a lot of that with unemployment and stuff like that, really got fucked up by COVID. Because everyone didn't have to report in for shit. Because don't go to jobs to apply for places. Just apply for unemployment. You'll get it.
All right,
Um,
so winter of severe illness and death.
right. Yep. For the unvaccinated. But yeah. Um, so I mean, there used to be requirements and stuff like that, but yeah, just a lot of people just ran out or they stopped caring, and then fucking people just like, just because they stopped caring about shit doesn't mean that you should cut them off. Like, no, that's actually why you should cut them off, because they don't care about anything. Like, like at this point, are we really showing them mercy by just allowing them to not die? And
Mhm.
like I don't know. Like I say, there's a
If
point
you
where
give a man a
fucking,
fish, man, you know
yeah,
the
exactly.
fucking signs don't feed the animals at your fucking state parks. It's not because they're worried about your safety. They're worried about the animals becoming dependent. You know what I
Right.
mean? And getting comfortable approaching you.
Yep. But yeah, we seem to view ourselves as beyond that, you know? No, that's beneath us. Like people shouldn't. We should be able to live comfortable within society. With if someone doesn't want to work, then they shouldn't have to work. The rest of the people should be able to,
Mhm.
if they can pick up the slack for them. But ultimately, we see how that goes time and time and time again.
Seen
Ultimately,
it a
the other
million
people,
times.
right? Ultimately, the people that are working see their taxes going to the people that aren't working, and then they're like, well, "What the fuck am I working for?"
Hmm.
That's
Yeah,
the
you're
way.
struggling, and then you're seeing, they're giving prepaid fucking visas to immigrants with fucking
twenty
fully
five
loaded food
thousand
stamp
dollar
cards, and
down payments for a home, like,
yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah. Giving them jobs as police in fucking multiple states now. Now it's spread to the Midwest. It's not just fucking the loony West Coast. They the whole fucking you like state what is it Stacy Plaskett, right, the representative from fucking what is it Virgin Islands, saying the quiet part out loud that the FBI is there to crack down on fucking white nationalists and replacement theorists and shit like that, right? Not to
Mm-hmm.
mention political fucking adversaries, but I mean, they legit don't want you to point out that they're fucking charging you for your own replacement, and it's even as far as you have camel toes out here telling you that you should almost feel bad for wanting to have kids, and the New York Times are telling you it's selfish to want to have kids. Meanwhile, they're bringing in people that fucking outbreed you 3 to 1. You know what I mean?
Right.
And telling you we're not trying to replace you, and no, we can't pass an act that makes them prove that they're citizens before they can vote because fucking, you know, we're not
Racism.
replacing you. Yeah,
Right. And if you
yeah, you
think so,
fucking
it's
bigot.
because you're racism.
Yeah. And
Yep.
they got to throw in Christian and white nationalists in front of nationalists because everyone's allowed to be proud of where they come from. They come here and wave their country's flags and refuse to speak English, so on, right? But if you're
Mm-hmm.
fucking proud to be an American, that means you're white or Christian nationalists, and you have to be eliminated from society.
Did you see the Matt Walsh did a review? So I guess some of the more well-known people that make Christian content from back in the day, like the creator of Veggie Tales and stuff like that. I guess they did a commentary, or they commented on Matt Walsh's "Am I Racist" movie, and
Without
basically,
even watching it.
yeah, without even
Yeah,
watching it, of course, and basically like, that's not what Christians do. Christians should not be engaging in any sort of culture war at all. And like, yeah, it's obviously it's not necessarily the thing. Obviously, if you're a Christian, you should be fighting for your faith and stuff like that. That's a kind of a requirement. But at the same time, they're trying to like no, like we shouldn't be pointing out people's flaws and mistakes and shit like that. Like that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's culture war issues and stuff like that. What do you think about that? Did you see that one?
yeah, and I think that religion is culture. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
mean, our version of our Abrahamic fucking religion, right? Christianity is fucking been a part of our culture for centuries. You know what I'm saying? And I know that how they love to. The founders weren't even the founders that weren't out and out Christians or what have you. They still spoke of God, higher powers, God given rights, so on and so forth, right?
right.
And it's everybody searches for that, and that's the left obviously replacing that with government, as they love to say. Yours is in a cult, but we've kind of replaced ours with fucking the object of freedom, of liberty, of that's our main fucking portion of culture, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's tied in,
Yeah, yeah. I think whenever Friedrich said that, God, Friedrich Nietzsche said, that God is dead. I think he was mistaken there, because I think ultimately, fucking God is ultimately going to always create a vacuum within people. People are always going to try and understand their place within the universe inherently. It's something that the human mind cannot escape doing. Even if you don't think there's a God, well, then you're still going to contemplate your fate, your place within the universe, within a smaller context, because that's I guess the reaches of where your mind could grasp on. Uh, but
the micro.
uh,
Why the fuck am I here?
Right. Just into the most basic sense, like shit, even if you just look at the trees and see like, why the fuck does shit grow? Like why does anything live? Like why the fuck, why does life happen? If you get down to that point, even, that's the most natural human thing. So they always like to say politics is downstream from culture. Well, I even extend it further and say that, well, culture is downstream from your understanding of your place in the universe, or basically your spiritual understanding, your theology, your philosophy, what have you. And of course, America's philosophy is based off of the concept of a god. It really is based off of loosely off of Judeo-Christian values. Um, but yeah, it is basically ultimately based within the context that God exists. So you can't really have America without God in the picture, but yeah,
Yeah, and
ultimately,
even the separation of church and state, it wasn't that they're separated, it's that government has no jurisdiction over the fucking, your religion, your church, your personal beliefs, your
right,
pursuit to happiness, man.
right, yep. Yeah, so I mean, they like to use it as obviously the opposite, where basically like, no, the church needs to go fuck off from the state, But
Yeah,
yeah,
rather than it being deeply held beliefs and again part of your culture, they try to turn it into a cudgel. That's like I was saying earlier. They use them against you. Everything that they do and say is freedom of speech and expression. Anything you say is fucking hate speech and needs to be censored and canceled off the inner zones. Fucking Al Gore's amazing inner zones. Fucking God be upon him, dude.
right, yep. And it really is funny too how they like to point out the like, oh, like, well, if that's what your God is about, then your God must be bigoted and shit like that. Like that's well,
God
but
is
then
actually pretty bigoted, man.
yeah, I mean,
If you believe what's supposed to be the word of God, right? I mean, yeah.
right. If you think the Christian God is fucking pretty bigoted, and while you're over there chanting free Palestine, who you're in for a rude awakening, buddy. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
Yeah. So I
truly
mean,
misogynistic fucking structure, and one that has no compunction or fucking sympathy for the fucking weak and the deviant.
Right. Yeah, if I can, at least fucking Jesus believes that you could be forgiven. Those guys, not so much.
Irredeemable.
Yeah, you need to be put to death. Yeah, fucking infidel.
Yep. A
Yep.
long step off of fucking real tall buildings.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, there is that, but yeah, if I can, you want to talk about the attempted moides of one Donald J. Trump?
Run it.
All right. So of course we talked about the what is it, Thomas Crooks one? It had exploded like a melon. That one is actually there. That one's still coming. More stuff coming to the light on that one. But while that one was going on, there's actually another one that just took place. I don't remember this dude's name. What is it? Something like Roll or something like that?
Ralph. Something
Ralph.
Ralph.
Yeah, something Ralph. But
Not even worth remembering his name. Dude's a
yeah,
scrubby fucking meth head looking motherfucker.
yeah, yeah. It looked like he fucking took some time off of his busy day of blowing off truckers at truck stops to go and pull out his fucking old SKS and pretend he was going to take some shots at Trump. And he didn't actually have the gusto to do anything because, of course, Secret Service started shooting at him and he ran for his life. Of course, luckily, gladly, he didn't get any shots off. Unfortunately, the dude was still alive. So a lot of stuff has been coming to light about this guy. So apparently he was over there fighting in Ukraine. He's been traveling all over the world. And what does he live on? Like fucking
Three
3,000 a
grand
month?
a month.
Yeah,
Yeah,
three
but
grand a
has a
month.
house in Hawaii. You've
Yeah.
seen, I don't know if you've seen the pictures, it's like a 2-story house, in Hawaii, like a bungalow. And we know Hawaii's the most expensive state to live in.
All right. Yep. And so apparently that's what's going on with this guy. And then they also have his son. That was another kind of thing that people were speculating out because didn't they do an interview with his son or something like that?
Yeah, they did an interview and he went on to say that his dad hates Trump like every sensible person fucking would, right?
Right.
And that he wanted to be a martyr. But I don't know if you were going to go with the next step with that, or
Then a week later they find him with child porn.
and when they raided the house, originally looking for weapons, they found it, and then they just charged him. Went and got his bitch ass. He had hundreds of fucking kitty porn shit on tablets, phone, computer.
Yep.
Sick
But
fuck.
I mean, yeah. So there's a whole lot to unpack here, man. So we'll talk about that for a second, and then we'll also go into JD Vance getting doxxed and Iran and where they play a role in all of this. But yeah. So I don't know, any connections, anything like that you made with this Routh guy?
I mean, the obvious, right? The fucking Ukrainians, man.
Right.
Supposedly, the Ukraine has put out there that they fucking have kill teams in America, and that they're even, threatening people online. Apparently, like they'll come and get you if you're on there talking shit, on the inner zones about Ukraine. And this guy was actively making recruitment videos and shit, saying, I'm willing to go die for, the Ukraine. You should too. Basically trying to brainwash your kids into going to die for, the most corrupt fucking country in Europe. I'm sure it was. It's probably not now because there's barely anyone left, right? But yeah, I mean that seems like the connection. You know, I mean, as far as that's concerned, and who knows who it was funded by? Because like you mentioned fucking Iran, which what several guys were just indicted, in connection to an assassination plot through Iran, right? So I mean, they're probably funding it. We know Trump killed Soleimani. They vowed fucking retribution. And you have like Josh Hawley coming out saying, there's, this is real. We know of these kill teams. Matt Gaetz saying that they know of 5 kill teams, right? 3 are foreign nationals. So I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
Rumors of surface to air missiles, targeting fucking Trump Force One and shit.
So, like I said, if you see my lack of optimism as to what a Trump winning the election is going to look like, there's that.
I mean, even with that, not to mention you got Jamie Ratskin fucking talking about Civil War fucking provisions, to prevent fucking Trump from taking office. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's steady gain, bro.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, the next 6 months or so is going to be fucking insane. You know, going to be insane. Make sure you guys are tuned in here at the Liberty Bowl. We're probably going to be talking about most of it unless they start arresting people, in which case the show's fun, but I ain't going to jail for you guys. Fuck that. I got family. Right. But no, fucking yeah, man.
Be in the gulag with fucking Tim Pool. I always wanted to meet you, bro.
Right. Right. Shit. I always wanted to be on the show, man, but I mean, I guess coming at you live from Guantanamo Bay.
Liberty Bowl Studios here at Guantanamo.
Yep. Yeah. So, you know, fingers crossed, but you know. So yeah, I definitely think that there's going to be several more, you know, Trump assassinations. Of course, we do have absolute incompetency in terms of the Secret Service, and every time that one of these assassination attempts ends up happening, somebody ends up getting promoted, and they end up patting themselves on the back like, oh look, yeah, but he's not dead. That means we won. You know, like really, I mean, you're supposed to see this coming a mile away. You know. Most people would have, you know, most people, obviously, you know, probably not. I'm not saying most people would have. It's not like most people have the same sort of mentality that the Secret Service has, but the Secret Service should have. This fucking Secret Service, whose sole existence is to protect the protectee, they probably should have had a lot of this stuff scoped out beforehand, you know?
Yeah, and apparently fucking the local police there have the fucking right edge because, you know, you listen to Dan Bongino, and apparently now there's a debate going on whether it was actually the fucking local police officer that took fucking, you know, old crooks out. So, you know.
Yeah, it's all just fucking games. It's all just misdirection, you know? It's all just trying to keep people confused. That's why I say with all the different assassination attempts going on right now, it's really even kind of hard to keep up with everything. You know, it's basically the same thing all over again with Donald Trump's legal cases. You know, unless you're like, you know, a legal scholar, it was difficult to even fucking keep up with the people that, you know, read the news every day and shit like that as to what's going on with Donald Trump's cases. Yeah, that's kind of what's going on with the information on Donald Trump's assassination attempts now. And I really think it's just they're just burying details on top of details so that way they could bury the ultimate actual story, you know, so people just get caught up, you know, in the weeds and shit. And they don't ever actually get to the source of what's going on. Again, nobody other than, of course, the perpetrators are going to face any sort of punishment or any sort of, you know, accountability for this going on right now. Right. The Secret Service people that were in charge that let this stuff happen under their watch more than once already are going to get promotions. Right. In order to keep them quiet. And they're going to basically they have plausible deniability. And, yeah, really just a lot of these agencies have gone rogue, and it really is, you know, the war machine. That's what I really think is at the soul of all of this. And it could, you could go into, you know, other stuff like, oh, it's, you know, evil fucking cabals and shit like that, you know, but either way, it's not provable. You know, obviously there's different sorts of, you know, cabals of people and stuff like that, but as to whether or not it's some sort of secret fucking, you know, that shit was Bohemian Grove fucking meetings and shit that took place, and now all this stuff's happening. Like, I don't know about all that. I don't know. But what I do know, right? But what I do know is that where a lot of this war originates from, and it's basically from people that are obsessed with power, from fucking megalomaniacal psychopaths that ultimately end up rising up to the top of power. That's why you should never, ever centralize power. You should never, ever put too much power in one place. You know why? There's a reason. There's a reason that anybody that is actually smart and fucking, you know, methodical in their thinking works business in America, because that's where the power is. That's where you could gain the most power, is by fucking, you know, being in control of the almighty dollar. Because in a capitalist society, that's supposed to be how you gain more power. You don't really see the best and brightest working within government, you know. At least, you know, anybody that's, you know, power obsessed, you know, until government becomes more powerful than the private industry until government starts to control private industry. Then private industry wants to grease the palms of fucking government. And then you want to buy politicians. Right. And that's at the point we're at right now, is where these giant fucking, the scum of the earth, the most intelligent fucking scum of the earth, are at the point where they don't care about fucking money anymore. They want to buy politicians. And that, my friends, is when you have what is called an oligarchy. And that's basically what's going on here in America, because of the fact that we're not completely free society anymore, or at least not economically free. So yeah, that's where we're going in America. But either way, back to assassinations, man. Fucking the doxing of JD Vance. Unless you want to talk about fucking.
Yeah, I wanted to mention about, with
Yeah.
the assassination shit. I mean, you got Josh Hawley also coming out saying that the Secret Service, DOJ, stonewalling, you know what I mean, with information as far as the congressional fucking, chambers trying to investigate. Then you have DeSantis in Florida, who announced that, this should happen in Florida, this last attempt. So he's going to do, have his own state investigation. And he said the FBI stonewalling, that they're not sharing information, or, the Florida office down there. So and then with them releasing the fucking, the letter with the $150,000 fucking, price on, Crump's head, which obviously this dude doesn't have. I mean, he's fucking locked down. They've charged him now for sure with attempted assassination, which they fucking slow walk that. They try to get him on just some bullshit weapons charges. But with the letter coming out, they had no choice. Which apparently, originally the letter was leaked, by someone fucking on the interior, of course, and just like you were going into with the doxing, the same thing. Probably fucking, the same source, which apparently is fucking Iran.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, basically, like you were saying, if they're gonna allegedly Iran was doing some campaign research on JD Vance, right? And they accidentally leaked it, and basically the people at the news, I forget which outlet it was. I remember the person used to work at the Young Turks though. But yeah, so apparently he decided to go ahead and publish it without any sort of redactions, anything like that, including social security numbers, home addresses, personal email addresses, what have you. And
children, his wife.
yeah, if I can, basically any sort of information that you could ever want in order to get at and possibly intimidate or assassinate JD Vance, they just published right there. And yeah, things are heating up. I don't think a lot of this stuff is simple accidents. I don't think a lot of it's simple incompetence, especially at this point in the game. I I'm not trying to be all conspiracy theorists and shit like that, but I don't think that a lot of the stuff that's going on at this point in time is coincidental.
Yeah, I mean, you listen to Dan Bongino, right, who had years at the Secret Service, multiple presidencies, has inside sources. What's the saying that he keeps repeating, man? Fucking layered incompetency is intention, fucking
Right.
malice, right? And the guy that posted that shit on the inner zones was fucking Klippenstein. And the guy was kicked off of fucking Twitter, but fuck, that's probably not enough. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And people will say, well, some of this information is available on an Alaskan fucking, website that, political website that posts like personal details of, candidates and whatnot. And they say, most of that's on there, but, that's not the point. It's social security number shit. That's serious, man. And,
Yeah.
like it was pointed out, even, like WikiLeaks, they go to fucking great lengths to fucking, redact shit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And redactions suck when you're talking about classified fucking paperwork, from your government. But obviously that's a protection tool for personal safety. You know what I'm saying? I mean, why would you do that other than fucking malice? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Straight piece of shit.
Yep. Yeah. That's like I said, it's getting to a real bad point, here in America. Um, and a lot of that, as we're going to see in this little video clip we're going to play real quick before we get out of here. Well, we're going to talk about it a little bit as well too, but an FBI whistleblower warns America as to warns Americans to basically stock up on food, water, ammunition, basically start prepping, because the
And make it
FBI
click.
has
You should come
apparently
together with some neighbors, man. At least 4.
right. Yeah, fucking I mean, really, you should at least know some of your neighbors anyway. But yeah, if they can start forming communities, I mean, one person with a whole lot of ammo could really only do so much. You really need a couple of people in different locations to be able to kind of defend in an area. So I mean, yeah, learn who your neighbors are, learn people in your community, build some connections, make some friends, go join a militia, do what you do. Because yeah, it's gonna get bad. Well, let me see if this video will pull up real quick. Aha. All right, let's check this out.
And everybody in the minority party, they're fearing what Donald Trump would do in the next administration, while they sit here and they look at the guy who's been persecuted by the FBI. And everybody in the room understands it. Mr. Allen, do you have comments you wish to make? I'll give you about a minute and a half, and then I want to turn the rest of my time to Mr. Jordan.
Yes, sir. I would just say that I consider the hearing today my last act of service as a public servant for the United States of America. And I'll give you my professional opinion. I was an intel professional for our country for many years, and I would give recommendations, and I'd also look at indications and warnings. So I would offer this to the American people as my warning to them. Since this is a warning to the American people, I say, I personally have no confidence that the FBI will rein in its own conduct. I've been persecuted along with Garrett, Steve, and Kyle, and countless other whistleblowers. It is my opinion that the Bureau used reprisal and fear to control the workforce. It has been a seemingly effective tactic. I personally believe that there are no current effective checks and balances against them conducting lawless action with any type of correction in a legitimate time frame. I welcome the work of the IG, but I think any type of lawless action, there's no legitimate time frame to rein them back in. Their ability to overclassify information can allow them to stonewall forever. To the American people, you have a duty as a citizen to vote, and I strongly urge you to do so. It's how you participate in the American experience. I know people have doubts about election integrity, but you must vote. It is your claim. Stake your claim and don't forfeit it willingly. Have your voice heard. My other recommendations are in the natural order. First, vote. The second is the Second Amendment. Arm yourself and know how to defend yourself. Make 3 to 4 friends in your neighborhood and promise to come to each other's mutual aid in times of hardship. And during the Great Depression, people stocked up a pantry. So I think that's a good practice, especially in our economic times, and make sure you have 3 to 4 months of food. As a person of faith, I'd say pray the rosary, go to the First Friday devotions. That's for everybody, all my brothers and sisters of all faiths, and I know I'm Catholic, and read the gospel of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and live it every day. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for the time.
You know, Mr. Allen, the fact that there are servants like you who have borne up under persecution that a lot of political leaders in this country do not care about is the thing that heartens the American people. And I'm confident the American people will resolve the situation.
See, I don't know about, being brought up under persecution. I don't know his story that far back. But this is like, a decorated agent man, fucking ex-Marine. His name's Marcus Allen. He's had a top security clearance since fucking 2001. Was employee of the fucking year, at the FBI in 2019. And he goes on to talk about how fucking the FBI used reprisal and fear to keep people from whistleblowing or, telling you fucking reality of what you're fucking paying for and what's going on around you. It's, pretty good. It seems like whistleblowers now, of course, they're being treated like fucking criminals because, they're not blowing fucking Democrats. But of course, when there's a whistleblower that, is speaking the leftist fucking language, of course, he's a hero and he's got to be protected at all costs. But men like this, why obviously a badass, like I said, pretty high ranking Marine, apparently. You got to watch your back, son. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I mean, he's out here speaking reality.
Yep. Yep. Like I said, it's gonna get rough, over the next couple of months, and it's gonna get unpredictable as well too. I mean, you don't know. You don't know. I mean, everybody has a normalcy bias because you just never, it's never gonna happen here. It can't happen here. That's this type of stuff that happens in the third world and shit like that. It doesn't happen here in America, but this time it's different. This I try to stress to people all the time. Like, I mean, I'll talk to people, that aren't too well versed in politics and stuff like that, and those like, no, like there's always been tumultuous times in America and stuff like that. We've been through a lot and shit like that. Like, it's not like this. Like, this is the first time in human history that there is ever, and again, we try to pretend that America does not hold the world within its grip because of the fact that we have the strongest military in the world. We have for quite some time, and we've proven it for quite some time, and we have control of the money. Those are two things that have never been absolute monopoly in human history, and we have that right now. And so obviously, with that never having happened as well, something like that has never collapsed either. Right. So I mean, we've seen civil wars, we've seen economic collapses, we've seen world wars. This is basically going to be like the Great Depression, World War I, World War II, like in the Civil War, and the American Revolution, all wrapped up and happening at the exact same time together. Like, that's how bad this is. Right. So yeah, we've been through some shit before, but the implications of everything else going on within the context of domestic and geopolitical issues, even, I mean, it's a high probability that at least one of these major catastrophic events is going to take place, and it's a pretty good possibility that we're going to face several of them at one time. Right? So this is definitely not the same as we've faced before, as anybody in human history has faced before. This is bad. Like, this is bad news bears right now. So
To me,
definitely
again, it reminds me of the fucking, the story of Rome, man, the fall of Rome, dude. And I know it's
yeah,
a played out fucking analogy, but it doesn't get more obvious. Like, again, you went from fucking white gowns and marble palaces with fucking running water and sewers to shitting in a bucket in the fucking skeletal remains of fucking, a high tech fucking temple. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah.
you can't read your own name. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's fucking,
It's
that's what
gonna
it looks like.
it's gonna be just like that, but with nukes. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. There's a possibility we could end up back in the fucking Stone Age. Like, that's how bad this shit is.
Yeah, it's either that or $35 Big Macs, dude.
Yeah. Those are the roads that we're heading down right now.
Not that I would eat one of them sick fucks anyway.
Right. But yeah, I mean, that's when you hear people talking about, I don't see the off ramp, I don't see the exit anymore. That's what we're talking about. Is there's fucking 5 shit storms directly in front of us, and there's no fucking space to turn back around. And it's basically, we have to fucking ride head on into at least one of these. Hopefully some of them don't join up to fucking together and shit. But one way or another, we're fucking heading into a total shit storm. To put it in Leahy terms. Yep, the shitbirds, Randers.
The scary shit when someone breaks from the government after a lifetime of fucking service, and the first thing they tell you is fucking stock up on guns and ammos, get good with God and your neighbors, man.
Yep.
It's rough times ahead. It's gonna get worse before it gets better, boys.
It's not just a bumper sticker anymore. God, guns, and family, you guys. That's the 3 essentials of life at this point. Well, maybe not at this
fucking
point.
Grandparents thought were cool, dude. It is all of it.
Yeah, yeah. It's actually kind of funny thinking that, man. It's like, at least I'm lucky that I grew up with that strict, fucking pretty much all male fucking figures in my life, And at the time when I was a kid, I was like, man, these guys are fucking assholes, man. Fucking all my friends, they just live with their mom. Their dad walked out on them, so they just get to do whatever they want. I don't get to do shit. Like, but help me out now.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I had the old Southern grandparents that were like, "Fucking, this is how you grow food. This is how you shoot guns. This is how you know what I mean."
Yep. Yeah. Yep. So fucking hopefully the next generation, yeah. At least like I say, we're seeing the next generation, at least they're looking for something different, They're looking for something different than what they've been fed their whole young lives,
Yeah, I recently saw a poll of millennials that it went on to state that like 70% of them polled that are college educated said that it wasn't worth the stress and the financial woes for that piece of paper, man. You know,
Yeah.
it's pretty sad because the old Frankfurt school, they fucking brainwashed a bunch of kids that they had to come to their fucking propaganda farm, otherwise they weren't going to be able to get a job, right? And God forbid you learn how to use your hands. And now these motherfuckers are working at Taco Bell and shit.
You're right. Yep. Fucking it really does put things in perspective though, when you think about if like I said, those people are going to feel the brunt of the economic instability. Some people that have been working for 10-20 years, they got a little bit, they got a foundation to build off of, even in terms of just experience. If you need another job, like, who are you going to hire, the fucking 16-year-old kid or the guy that's been doing this for 20 plus years, and now he's willing to do it for $20 cheaper, like, so I mean, the young people are going to get the shit end of this whole economic storm. And at the same time, you also have to think that if anything does end up, if shit does end up breaking bad in America, they're going to be the guys fighting, and so you just got to hope that enough of them wake up to the realities of our bad governance. And the people that end up fighting the hardest are the ones that understand what took place here.
Yeah, but to insulate themselves, that's hence the reason they've imported fucking armies, where you see the numbers that just drop with tens of thousands of convicted murderers, rapists, so on and so forth. And then you talk about the lower younger people getting the short end of the stick. Well, at the same time, they're replacing entire plant loads of employees with fucking Haitians, and they got like Tyson, for instance, fired their whole staff to bring in newcomers. You know what I'm saying? And so they can pay them fucking pennies to do your same job.
Right.
But at that same time, that's also Americans getting that smack across the face that we've touched on multiple times, where they think they need to get $30 to do the most remedial fucking job.
It's
You
just
know
what
what
I was
I'm
about
saying?
to say. It's just what I was about to say. Those are the types of things that people notice, though. Those are the types of the things that people can't help but notice,
Yeah.
So yeah, at least if they're getting the shit end of that stick, as we're already seeing in places like Chicago, they're the fucking local gangs there and shit are trying to fucking drive the Venezuelans out of there. Like, I mean, so there's hope yet, there's hope yet. Of course, shit always runs downhill, and we're at the point where our youth are swimming in shit right now, and they're starting to look and see where the fuck this is coming from.
Yeah, you hope, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I know as far as like when I see any kind of, people, putting out their support for old camel toes and them, it's almost always fucking older white people. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, I hope that's the case. And like you said, you see all these men on the streets, a lot of youngins, oh, Trump for sure, but, those are some of the brackets that tend to not vote as well.
Right.
And
Yeah.
talk a lot of shit
We
and
are
don't
also
vote.
seeing a lot of uh, higher rates and registrations and stuff this year. We're seeing a lot of the low propensity voters, are really coming out this year. The people that normally don't vote in elections, the people that normally don't care
Colin
about
Powell.
politics. Yeah. They're starting to come out, and they're starting to come out overwhelmingly in favor of Trump. Like, a lot of people aren't coming out of the woodwork to come vote for Kamala Harris. If you actually look at a lot of the like man on the street interviews and stuff, I was watching some like a live streams of this one dude walking through like the ASU campus, and someone he walked through Wisconsin, Nevada, basically the swing states. And he was just on live stream for like 2 hours, just walking up to random people and stuff. And you could see the Kamala voters, they seem kind of ashamed. Like they seem like they don't want to say that they're voting for Kamala. you know,
Unless
where
they're older white people, then they're like
right.
Kamala's for sure.
But it used to be the other way around, especially on college campuses and shit. You know, you don't want to say that you're voting for Donald Trump. You know, you'll be fucking excommunicated. But you know, we're starting to see a little bit of a shift in the peer pressure. It seems, you know, in terms of you know, Kamala versus Trump, and
Yeah,
it's really
and
just because the Trump people are fucking diehards. You know, the Trump people they're fighters. You know, they're the people that are going to tell you to go fuck yourself. You know, whereas
yeah, for
the
sure.
Kamala voters are gonna like cry. I guess that's really all they got.
I want you off the campuses. This is supposed to be a
Right.
safe space. But I got this voter registration change from November 2020 to July 2024. It just dropped. Scott Pressler put it out, and total change is Republicans are up almost 400,000 votes registrations, and Democrats are down 3.5 million. Independents are up almost 2 million. So
Yep.
you know, it's looking good as far as that's concerned. Like you said earlier, polls are looking really good. I mean, you know, you don't want to believe that shit, and there's going to be shenanigans. So you know, you just got to make it too big to rig. You keep fucking repeating that, putting it out there, and you know, vote harders, vote harders.
Right.
I know they like to use that as a mock, but you know, one of only 2 times in my life where I'm like, you know, you got to do this. You
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah. This is like we're fighting for our lives right now, you guys. not to sound like a lefty, but you know, there's a lot at stake. But all right, man.
Economic
You got
lives at minimum.
anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here?
That's it, man. Fucking dude, push, right? Town, man.
Yep.
Bring your fucking brothers, cousins. You know what I'm saying? Pull the old Scott Pressler, man. Are you registered to vote? Your current addresses? You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah. Fucking yeah. I actually have I think I got like 5 people registered for this
Oh, yeah,
election. Yep. So I've done my part.
I've
You
got
know, but
three.
yeah,
That's not
man,
that
it's
much, but
shit.
you know,
It's progress, man. It's
right?
people, you know. But hell yeah, fucking all right, man. We appreciate you guys stopping by. Make sure you guys stick close to your guns. Make sure you guys stock up on food. Make sure you guys read from the good book. Make sure you guys take care of each other. Look out for each other. You know, meet each other. You know, fucking go out and hang out. Go fucking shoot some guns and shit. But yeah, definitely some rough waters ahead. But make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. Stick by the Liberty Bowl, and we'll tell you all about it as you're watching it happen. But all right, anything else you want to say?
We'll try to tell you about it. The cottonmouths, man. Smell
All
you
right,
later.
all right. Like, subscribe, share, and fuck off.